Hi. Now I'm going to just very briefly, um, I mean it this time, very briefly explain how to use the Greek lexicon and dictionary at billmounts.com. I mentioned it in the instructions, but I didn't show you the actual pages. So if I share the screen and go here, you'll notice that on my screen, I've gone to billmounts.com and I've chosen there to go to the Greek dictionary. Now, there are other resources that Bill Mounts has made available for free. He also has some lectures, even lessons, a whole year of lessons or two on how to learn Greek. But I think that our textbook that we have by Dr. McIver is actually much better than anyone else's. Although certainly you could use Bill Mounts if you wanted to do so. But on his website, he has some free resources, and this Greek dictionary is one of those. Now, it's actually the best one that I know of. And he isn't actually inviting Greek students to add to it. So it's gradually growing as others um, add their comments. Now, I'm going to actually change cameras here. Let's see if I can do this. Um, and for a moment, I'll stop sharing. And you'll look over my shoulder here and you'll see my Greek New Testament. Like this is one I've had for nearly 50 years, actually more than that now, 52 years. And some places are kind of worn and tattered. I like it that way. This is the one I make my notes in as I'm reading in the Greek. And here is the story of birth of Christ in Matthew 1, chapter 1, verse 18. Made some notes here. And here is the story of the coming of the so-called wise men. You'll notice that the authors have made this all, made the first 6 verses one paragraph. And then at verse 7, they started a new paragraph. It will be your job to decide, is that the right place to start a paragraph? Is there a reason? Actually, this word then, tote. Then Herod secretly, Lothra, called the magus, um, one particular word which we might be interested in. And so it's the topic has changed, and I think very rightly they have made a paragraph change here. They made an even bigger one here by putting in a description of the content, the flight to Egypt. And certainly this section through it talks about them going to Egypt. And then it talks about how evil and wicked Herod was as he killed the infants, just to make sure he maintained his throne. The man was suffering from diseases, syphilis. He had lived a very um, evil life, made lots of bad choices, killed many people, murdered wives. He had several wives and murdered most of them. And but was propped up in his power by Rome. And here you notice in the text we have a quote. It's every time there's a quote, this is the NA, what we call the NA 26. Your Bible, your New Testaments will have, when you get them, the NA28, which has been updated then twice. The Nestle Aland, NA stands for Nestle, the German scholar who first made the first modern version of our Greek New Testament, and Aland was the name of two scholars, husband and wife, who contribute greatly to its development, especially in the late decades of the 20th century. In the NA 26, 27, 28, these versions, any quotation from the Old Testament is in bold letters. Now, when your New Testament will look a little different. There are some alternate readings at the bottom of the page and some very unusual looking markings here and numbers. Those are actually manuscripts. And there's even, for example, here a C. That means there are four four grades: A, B, C, and D. An A would mean this reading is definitely the correct one, and B would mean we think it's the correct one, and C, there's some doubt, and D, it's very doubtful, but we think this is probably correct. You see, there's a lot of work that has gone into a study of our Greek New Testament, because we really want to know which were the words that Matthew and Mark and Luke and John and Paul, Peter, what were the actual words that they wrote? You might ask, the Old Testament quotation? Yes. They used what's called the Septuagint, which was translated in the first and second, in 2 centuries before the birth of Christ, from the Hebrew by rabbi scholars, Jewish scholars, the Hebrew Old Testament into Greek. And so that is the quotation here, because remember, they had to take God's word to the people's language in their time, just like we have to take it to the people's language in our time. Now, when we look at this text closely, we see words that, well, we can't study them all. By the way, there's that little word, idu, behold, look here, focus on this. I want you to notice this, he says. Magoi. And in both sermons, you, of course, hear a lot, if you listen carefully, Dr. Keller and Reverend Knott, you hear a lot about the Magoi. Who were these Magoi? It's the word that is usually translated wise men. So let's go back. So you're not looking over my shoulder. You're looking right now at me, but I want to share my screen again. Go back to Bill Mounce, and over here in the right column, always finding. In the right column, we have a list of alpha, beta, gamma, delta. So when we find words, for example, in our interlinear Greek New Testament, and you noticed that we can find them in the dictionary form, Magoi is going to come under mu. So I'm going to double click on Magoi, on mu, sorry. And I'm going to scroll down until I find here, magos. And English letters magos, and notice sorcerer, plural, magi. In other words, they didn't know quite how to translate this, because I am pretty sure that nobody, I am one of them, knows what a magi is or what the magi are. Are they magicians? Sounds like it. We get our word magic from this word, of course, and other words like it. Notice maguo, here is the verb form, to practice sorcery and magic. Mageia is translated or the gloss is given here, magic. So we have three words that are obviously related to one another. It would be interesting to know if this one, Magog, which is referred to in Revelation and in the Old Testament in Ezekiel, if this is in any way related to the Magos, but I don't know, and I don't think anyone else does. But I want to find out more about this. So let's click on here. Now I have two numbers, and one of them, the fields are the Strong's number and then what's called the GK number. So I'm going to click on the Strong's number, which is a big concordance. And now I have Magos, and I have the dictionary form, Magos, the genitive, Magu, Ho. So we know it's a masculine word. Notice he has an advertisement here for a video class. I think you have to pay for that, so I'm not sure that you want to go there, but that's up to you. Frequency in the New Testament 6 times. So actually, most of them are going to be, as we scroll down further, in Matthew, in our story here. And there are 2 references in Matthew 2:16. So there's 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times used in the New Testament. And 4 are kind of positive, and 2 are negative. There's a magician in Acts chapter 13 who is also called Magos. Magos, the accusative Magon. Who were these people who came to Jesus? Well, there's nothing about them being kings. So the song, the carol, "We Three Kings of Orient Are," maybe you know that carol, maybe you don't. I don't know. It's very popular in the West to sing at Christmas time. Really isn't true. They weren't kings, and as I mentioned before, there certainly weren't just 3 of them. They brought 3 kinds of gifts, very precious and valuable gifts: gold and frankincense and myrrh. You will want to go and examine those words and find out, especially what is frankincense and what is myrrh and what is the significance of them. But right now we just noticed that magician, religion, magician, astrologer, wise man, a magician, a sorcerer. And what is most helpful is that we notice where it is used, all the places it is used in the New Testament. Now, this doesn't, when we only have 6 places in the New Testament, it's informative because we get a better idea of what this word might mean. But we're going to need more background information. And for that, I would suggest that you go to some place like, and let me stop sharing my screen and go from there and share a different screen, which will be this one, eSword. And so I'm going to share eSword, which I can't remember the name of it on, let's see, further on, show all windows. I need to see all of the windows. Let's see here. Here it is. All right. And I need my spotlight. And we're in Matthew 1, but I want Matthew chapter 2. So I'm going to, no, this is Genesis. I don't want Genesis. I want Matthew. So I'm going down to Matthew. And I click on 2. And I'm going to move something here on my screen that you probably don't see. But I'm also going to open, let's see, window. I want to see commentaries. And I would like to also notice I have downloaded, all of these are free. One which might be very interesting is the Cambridge Greek Commentary. It's a commentary on the Greek text. and you'll get some very interesting and helpful comments about the background. Things that you don't have to necessarily quote. You don't have to say, I found this from the Cambridge Greek Commentary. Your sermon is not a formal academic paper. It's only when you start taking someone else's sermon and making it your own sermon that becomes plagiarism. It becomes bad. But if I have downloaded several. Here's another one, the Expositor's Bible Commentary. There's a new edition of this that is not free, but this one is about 100 years old. But it is actually very thorough and very helpful. Here is a commentary, the International Critical Commentary on the New Testament, which is sometimes a little liberal and doubtful, but it also can be very helpful. Another person I like is Barnes. His commentaries on the text of the New Testament are very helpful. And this one, Gnomon, is a commentary actually on the Greek text. So a tool like eSword, if you download the commentaries, can help you. These are the windows, A, B, C, and D. But I'm going to go, let's see, these are the dictionaries. I'm going to go and look up what it has to say about Magi. So I'm going to here look up the words, and I'm going to make this bigger. And Jesus Christ, part 1. Here I'm going to get commentary on, well, this is not giving me what I want. I'm sorry. I'm going, the International Standard Bible Encyclopedia. This is also the older edition. But this is a good and a very helpful dictionary. And my dictionary, it's longer than a regular dictionary. It explains terms. If I actually go here, and now no, I don't want the church fathers, although they could be very helpful. I downloaded those as well. You can download as much as you want. To search the dictionary for, let's put in wise men. You'll notice there's a reference here to the wise men of Babylon, and Reverend Knott in his sermon also makes reference to Babylon and Persia, and that that we probably know that these men came because of the prophecies that and scriptures that a man like Daniel in 400 years before had given to them, and they kept them, and they were looking for the star that Daniel had already prophesied about, and also in Genesis was prophesied about. So you can use the commentaries, the Bibles here. There are several different translations, the King James Version, also the American Standard Version, the Bible in Basic English, which is much simpler to read, the English Standard Version. You can use these free of charge. Another thing you can do is, going to share the screen, going to go online again, just go to billmounts.com, and I want to share, say, we've got to move some things out of the way. I want to share this, and I want to go to my libraries, and I want to go to here, not Lumina, BibleGateway.com. There, this is what I wanted. So I'm going to share this screen, and I'm going to write in Matthew 2, 1 to 18. The Lexham English Bible is actually a very interesting is a very interesting English Bible, and I'm going to ask for that text, and so it gives me that text, and I can take this text and study it, and I notice that it also calls them the Magoi, wise men. So no one has really, this is very useful translation. Where is my spotlight? There it is. This is a very useful translation. But again, nobody knows quite what to do with these Magoi. So they are a very, very important word here that you will really need to understand. And notice they have not left off the behold, because they felt this is a very modern translation, but they felt it was so important they have just kept it there. Well, go through here and compare this translation with, for example, the King James or the ESV, and see where are the differences and how do they translate the Greek New Testament. When I don't know very much Greek, I have to rely upon English translations to help me understand the different ways that a text can be understood. And notice the different paragraphs. They have more paragraphs because they think that this text needs to be broken down into more sections. So BibleGateway.com, if you haven't used it, I would very highly recommend this. And there are others like Bible.com, I believe, and other places that you can go to. And please share it with your colleagues if you know of other good resources and where you can find those. I hope that's a little helpful introduction. You're going to have to try it yourself in order for these to be useful to you. But study more words than just Magoi. Study words like Anatole, the east. What does that mean? East of what? What was it referring to? Look it up in the Bible dictionary. Look up verb forms. Maybe you don't recognize the verb from the form in the New Testament because verb forms can change very quickly here and look very different from the dictionary form. But you have the interlinear. So the interlinear will tell you what the dictionary form is. So you can look it up at billmounts.com, or if you have a really good lexicon of your own that you own, you can look it up in there. And concordance is, of course, the best help, often because it shows us how the word is used in the whole New Testament. I hope this helps you to get into it more and to study important words. You can't study every word, of course not, but look for the important words and try to see which ones does Matthew want us to really understand. Listen to the sermons. Listen to other sermons that you find. What words seem to be really important? What things seem to be really important in our text? Martin Luther said, we have to chew over a text like a dog chews on a bone in order to get the sweetness, the juices, the nutrition from God's word. It does not come easily. but it is very rewarding if we study very carefully.